Hey friends, Gary here. Today I want to share Micro Four Thirds budget Holy Trinity lenses that together will cost less than 1,000 US dollars. So we all know that in other camera formats, there are what people call Holy Trinity lenses. In full frame terms, usually they are 24 to 70mm f2.8 together with 70 to 200mm f2.8 and something like 14 to 24mm f2.8 or 16 to 35mm f2.8 lenses. Wow, lots of numbers! Well, being a Micro Four Thirds lover, we also have our version of Holy Trinity lenses. In the Panasonic Lumix Micro Four Thirds world, we have the 12 to 35mm f2.8, 35 to 100mm f2.8, and something like the 8 to 18mm f2.8 to f4. Or in the Olympus world, you have the 12 to 40mm f2.8 and something like the 40 to 150mm f2.8 and a pro lens like the 7 to 14mm f2.8 or 8 to 25mm f4 lenses. Again, lots of numbers. Now these Holy Trinity lenses, they usually have large f2.8 apertures, sometimes f4, but they really help to blur the background more and also to perform better in lower light situations. And also these Holy Trinity lenses will usually have pro features such as weather sealing, ultra fast autofocus, things like that. But the problem with Holy Trinity lenses is that they are usually very expensive. For professional photographers, yes, they might need these pro features, the weather sealing, the larger aperture, the better build quality of the lens, but for the rest of us hobbyist, enthusiast photographers, we don't really need those pro features. All that we need is just a couple or a few lenses that can perform really well, that can take great pictures and also flexible to use. 3 lenses are usually more than enough to cover anything that we need. So in today's video, I'm going to share to you my more affordable budget options for Micro Four Thirds Holy Trinity lenses that are just as flexible as the professional versions. So I will divide this video into 3 categories. First category is zoom lens options, and then second category is prime lens options if you like to shoot with prime lens, and last but not least, stay until the end of the video because I will also share the ultra budget option that will cost only 350 US dollars combined together. Oh my god! Anyway, welcome to my desk. Hopefully you like this new look. I hope that this will be more interesting rather than just looking at my handsome face non-stop talking about cameras and lenses. But anyway, our first category will be zoom lenses. We have 3 zoom lenses right here as you can see, and the first guy is this lens right here. This is the Panasonic Lumix 12 to 32mm f3.5 to f5.6. You can get this for free, speaking about budget, if you buy it together with your camera. I got mine free with the G100, with the GX85, with the GF9, so you don't really have to pay for anything. If you are on Olympus or OM system camera, then you'll get the 14 to 42. It's pretty much the same thing. There's also the older Panasonic 14 to 42 as well. That's a great lens. But anyway, image quality of this lens is so great. I will share some photos captured using this lens right now. Everything looks sharp, contrasty, detailed. The colors do look nice. This will be the general lens that you'll use pretty much most of the time, 70% for your photography needs because of the flexible focal length from 12mm, which is moderate wide angle, to 32mm, which is mild telephoto. So you can do basically anything, travel, landscape, portrait, street photography with just one single lens. The only drawback with this lens is not the image quality. I saw many people complaining about image quality. I don't think it is true, but the problem with this lens is that First, it doesn't have large aperture, so background blur will not be great, and also low light performance will not be excellent. And second problem is that it is prone to flare, ghosting, basically anything that requires you to do backlight photography. This thing will, produce those artifacts that we don't really like, the ghosting, the purple blobs, and also the streaks of light, things like that. So just be mindful of that. Next, you'll need a telephoto lens, so something like a 70 to 200mm in full frame terms. And I got this guy right here, my favorite Micro Four Thirds telephoto lens ever, Panasonic Lumix 35 to 100mm f4 to f5.6. You can also get some different flavors of 40 to 150mm lenses from both Panasonic Lumix and Olympus OM system. They'll be a little bit more cheaper compared to this guy right here. But again, image quality, I love this guy so much. Let me share photos captured using this guy. Everything looks sharp, look contrasty, detailed. It's just excellent. And yeah, this is the lens that you'll use for distant landscape, to photograph something that is far away, or to do a little bit of portrait. I don't really like doing portrait with this guy because the aperture isn't really that large, but you can do it in a pinch. And yeah, speaking about the budget, this will cost you about $400, so you still have $600 left for an ultra wide angle lens. Now, speaking about ultra wide angle lens in Micro Four Thirds, especially the budget ones, the options are limited. I don't really find too much ultra budget lenses when it comes to ultra wide angle lens, but for this segment, I will feature this guy right here. I don't really recommend it, but I will feature it right now. This is the Olympus 9 to 18mm f4 to f5.6. It'll cost you about $600. So yeah, not exactly a budget-friendly option, but the focal length is great. 9mm is ultra wide, and you can zoom it into 18mm. And the aperture f4 to f5.6, you'll be shooting wide angle anyway, so you don't really need that large aperture to get you background blur, stuff like that. Now, the image quality, supposed that this lens is working just fine, is excellent in my opinion. You'll get plenty of detail, contrast, colors to look nice with this guy. Distortion is very well controlled. I really love using this lens. However, my particular 9 to 18 is broken from the ribbon cable issue, and it's been a known issue for a long time with this particular lens, and that's why I don't recommend it. However, there is the newer 9 to 18mm Mark II coming out from OM system, supposedly that it fixes the ribbon cable issue. Then I can probably recommend that lens. And don't quote me on that because I haven't tried that lens personally, so I'm still not going to recommend it yet. But my personal choice, if you're okay with not using zoom lens for ultra wide angle budget option, it'll be this guy, the Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7. This is so great. This will cost you about $500, so you still have $100 left to buy whatever that you want from our $1,000 budget. This is a fantastic ultra wide angle lens for Micro Four Thirds. And yeah, the problem is that it's not a zoom lens, so maybe I'll get disqualified from this category. But let me share some sample photos captured using this guy anyway. They're all excellent. I think 9mm is more than wide enough, and also the image quality, being a Panasonic Leica lens, I just love it. f1.7 aperture, that will really help for lower light situation. I'm going to bring this guy pretty soon to Iceland, and I'm hoping to capture some northern light photos with this guy. And yeah, this is truly the spirit of Micro Four Thirds in a form of ultra wide angle lens, and I can definitely recommend the Panasonic Leica 9mm. Next, our prime lens category for our budget holy trinity. So disclaimer alert, we will be going over our budget in this one. It will be about 1,200 or 1,300 US dollars simply because they're not that cheap. But what you'll get is excellent lenses with large aperture all across the focal length. First, we'll not speak about this guy anymore. This is the Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7 ultra wide angle prime lens. So we're not going to talk about this because we already talked about this guy previously. I'm going to set this aside. Great lens nevertheless. Now for our general purpose everyday prime lens for our Holy Trinity setup, it'll be this guy right here. This is the Panasonic Lumix 14mm f2.5. The reason why I picked this guy, and let me share some photos captured using this lens right now, is because 14mm is a very flexible focal length. This is a similar focal length to your smartphone's main camera, so you already get used to that focal length anyway, and using something like this will produce similar focal length field of view with your smartphone's camera. That's the reason why I chose this guy. And yes, it is very flexible. You can do travel, you can do street photography, you can do maybe a little bit of landscape with this guy, and this guy will just handle everything fine. It has a larger f2.5 aperture compared to your kit lens. You'll get about one stop extra aperture, so that'll be beneficial for low light and also for getting that nice background blur. No real drawbacks with this particular lens. I just love it so much. But if you're not satisfied with just f2.5 and you are okay to go over our budget, then I can recommend either the Panasonic Lumix 20mm f1.7. This will cost you about 360 US dollars. You'll get something a little bit more zoomed in with f1.7 aperture, so you'll get better background blur, 3D pop, subject separation, that kind of stuff with this guy. Or if you prefer to have similar focal lengths but larger aperture, a more premium lens will be the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7. This is about 600 US dollars, so quite expensive. But anyway, the 14mm will only cost you about 300 US dollars. Not really that much. If you are okay going with second, I bought mine second hand for less than 100 US dollars in perfect condition. So yeah, the general out and about prime lens will be that guy, and then the telephoto portrait lens will be this guy right here, Olympus 45mm f1.8. You can also get the Panasonic Lumix 42.5mm f1.7. The main difference between this guy and the Panasonic Lumix is that the Lumix one will have a stabilizer. So I don't think that's really that important, especially if you already have cameras with in-body stabilizer. But again, this is a great lens for portrait. Image quality is great. I'm sharing pictures right now, and yeah, this will cost you about 400 US dollars. So 400 together with this 700, and together with the Panasonic Leica, yeah, I'm sorry guys, that's 1200 US dollars. But you get large aperture all across the board. These are high quality lenses. These are not some kind of cheap toy lenses that will mess around with your image quality. Anyway, if you enjoyed today's video so far, please make sure to give it a like, share my video, and to subscribe to my channel down below. And if you want to support my work even further, please consider joining either my Patreon with the link right here. It is patreon.com/Gary_W, or to join my YouTube membership with the button join down below. You will get exclusive contents only for supporters, and also access for future Q&A videos. And for YouTube membership, you will also be able to get early access to my future videos. Thank you very much, and let's continue with today's video. And as promised, ultra budget option Holy Trinity. Together they will cost less than 350 US dollars. Wow, mind blowing. And here they are, guys. I've been putting them on this side of the frame so that I can kind of tease you guys with these lenses. But yeah, they will be very affordable, But you have to understand some drawbacks first. Let me first say that all of them are manual focus only lenses. You don't have autofocus options. There's no, information coming out from the lens to your camera. There's no EXIF data. However, let me assure you that image quality will be more than good enough with these lenses. I use them extensively over the years to photograph out and about, going to some locations, taking portraits of my wife and capturing some sceneries with all of these budget lenses, and they perform really well. So first of all, your general out and about lens will be the TT Artisan 23mm f1.4. This is your normal everyday prime lens. A little bit zoomed in, but I think you love it because you get a more normal perspective. Street photography and environmental portrait is really good with this guy. f1.4 aperture, wow, that really blew my mind. And the price is about $115 US. Very affordable, and you get a quality lens. This is not some kind of a cheap plastic lens whatsoever. This is a real quality lens. And then next lens will be a portrait lens. So I have the TT Artisan 50mm f1.2. This will cost you about $110 US. f1.2 aperture, wow, that really blew my mind. And sharing some photos right now captured using this guy, I think they're all excellent. Regarding about large aperture and softness and lack of contrast, yes, I'm not going to lie, you have to stop down a little bit when you are using this lens if you want maximum performance. However, wide open at f1.2, everything still looks acceptable to me. Okay, the keyword is acceptable, not excellent. You can still use it. I love shooting at f1.2, but when you want maximum performance, stop it down to about f2 and everything will be fine. $110 US. Again, the 23mm is $115. So right now we are at $225 US. And the last lens will be the ultra wide angle option. This is the 7 Artisans 10mm f3.5. This will cost you $100 US. So together they're all only $325 US. That's impressive. And the 7 Artisan wide angle lens right here, I think is what Micro Four Thirds needs. Affordable ultra wide angle lens that is small but produces great image quality. Sharing you some sample photos captured using this guy. I'm quite impressed with the 7 Artisan lens right here. I hope that they will make the autofocus version of this guy in the future. Anyway, enough about me. What about you guys? What are your versions of the budget Holy Trinity lenses that you use either for Micro Four Thirds or any other camera formats that you are using? Please share on the comment down below. I'd love to read your comments and learn from you guys. Anyway, that wraps up today's video. Hopefully this has been entertaining, interesting, inspiring, and also fun. I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you and goodbye.